A piñata, a classic children's party attention getter. Everyone always includes one at a kid's party. Kids love candy and destroying things, and a piñata contains both. Today I'm going to inform you guys on what exactly a piñata is. The piñata has been part of my culture for many years. I will first tell you the history of the piñata, then I'll explain what it stands for, and lastly I'll tell you guys what it means in the future. The history of the piñata. According to a website about piñatas, the piñata may have originated in China. Marco Polo discovered the Chinese fashioning figures of cows, ox, buffaloes, and even dragons. They were covered in colored paper and they were adorned with harnesses, ribbons, and other trinkets. Special colors traditionally greeted the New Year in China. When the mandarins knocked the hard figures with sticks of various colors, seeds spilled from the center. After burning the remains, people gathered the ashes for good luck throughout the year. So this is what a traditional Chinese piñata looks like. As you can see, it is in the form of a dragon. It has fun, bright colors, and it is full of ribbon. And the Chinese would leave seeds in the middle, and then they would burn the seeds afterwards, and then they would gather the ashes and dump them all over the crops, and that would signify good luck. Traditionally, piñatas were filled with both candies and fruit. Around Christmas time in Mexico, people would stuff the piñatas with wrapped candies, peanuts, guavas, oranges, jicamas, which is a type of sweet root vegetable, sugarcane, and also tejocotes, which is a kind of crab apple. And they would stuff the piñatas with these type of fruits and candies. Some types of piñatas called traps are stuffed with flour and confetti. So these type of piñatas are mostly as a joke. They're not really used at birthday parties or as, around Christmas time. They're mostly used around friends and for having a good time and a good laugh. Any child without a treat after the goodies were gathered from the ground is given a little basket full of special candy. These goodie bags are kept on hand to avoid hurt feelings and tears. The rest of the treats were passed around to everyone before the party was over. I interviewed my dad on July 7th, 2014, and he told me all the fun times he had in Mexico breaking the piñata. He said that during his time, candy would be kind of expensive to buy in Mexico, so that he and his brothers would stuff the piñatas with nuts and fruit. They would stuff it with fruit like guavas and oranges and pears and apples, and that also they would stuff them with peanuts, and that they would take turns hitting the piñata until they would break it, and then they would stuff it all over again and keep on breaking it. And he said that it was so much fun watching the fruit fall from the piñata, and that him and his brothers had so much fun, and he wished he could do it again. So now that I've talked about the history, I'll talk about what it stands for. The piñata stands for Satan. It was made to be bright and beautiful to lure innocent children into touching it. The candies, fruits, and nuts inside represented the temptations of the devil. The stick used to hit the piñata represented goodness to fight this evil. The person hitting the piñata was blindfolded to represent blind faith. Once the piñata broke and let out all the goodies represented a just reward. The piñata then symbolized caridad or charity because everyone got to share in the wonderful gifts and blessings. The message was that all were justified through faith in God. Some piñatas are shaped like a political person to show how evil they are, according to a blog from The Hill. So, in the blog that I read, it talked about how Hillary Clinton was going to run for president in 2016 and that she was a prime candidate to be a piñata, so everyone was going to be kicking her around and bashing her. And so it shows how piñatas can be a political cartoon for a person running for a candidate. Today, few people know about the original meaning of the piñata. Now piñatas are mostly used as a fun activity to celebrate birthdays and las posadas, which is the time to welcome Christmas time season in Mexico. They do not really symbolize anything anymore. They're just something fun and traditional that Mexican families like to keep on doing year after year. Now that I've talked about what the piñata stands for, I'll talk about what it means in the future. Piñatas in the future. I think that piñatas in the future will not exist anymore. Even though they will not exist, they will still symbolize a Mexican tradition. People will look back and remember all the fun times they had while breaking the piñata. They will not exist anymore because kids will be more focused on technology than tradition. Nowadays, kids are so focused on technological things that they will slowly stop asking for piñatas and start asking for computers and cell phones instead. Children at a younger age have had so much fun screaming and fighting over the goodies that come out of the piñata, and it will be sad to think that children in the near future will not do that anymore, and that they would prefer to play piñata games on their iPhone. I read this article on the New York Times, and it was saying how two reporters wanted to look at more Mexican culture, so they went around a neighborhood trying to look for some Mexicans or families. And so they walked past this park and they saw a family of illegal immigrants, and they were Mexicans, and they were celebrating a birthday. So they, walked to them, and they saw that they were breaking open a piñata for their two daughters. And they saw how it was nice that they had brought some of their Mexican culture from Mexico over to here. And the Mexican family was so nice to them, and they invited them to eat dinner with them and to celebrate in the family birthdays, and they had a really nice time. So they really liked that about Mexican culture. So today I talked about some information about piñatas. I talked about the history of the piñata, what it stands for, and what it will mean in the future. I hope you guys learned something about piñatas and their culture.